Have you watched have you watched any of my videos?
Um, so, and I'm gonna say no, but
Okay. So if you haven't watched any of my videos, but you're just seeing my appellation, that can be problematic because then you don't really know what it is that I'm teaching. And it's not a bad thing. This just lets me know because a lot of times people go for charisma, they go for lights, camera, and they're not getting into the substance of what it is I'm teaching and why I'm doing it. So for black, it is an adjective. Okay, so now what is an adjective? Adjective is a word or phrase naming an attribute. So we go to Old English, which is the language of the Anglo-Saxons, which predates what we're speaking as modern English, not Old English, not even Middle English. So we're going to go to black here. So black, it was spelled BL accent over the AC. It is an adjective. So it talks about an attribute. And it is bright, shining, glittering, flashing, pale, pallid, wan. When we go to NCES, definitions for new race and census, which we'll come back to in a second. Definitions for new race and ethnicity categories. So the definition for black or African American is a person having origins in any of the black racial groups of Africa. This is sanctioned by the U.S. Department of Education. So this is the U.S. Department of Education's definitions for race. So can you name me a black racial group of Africa?
no.
So if there's no black racial group of Africa, do they exist?
Um, no.
So,
Yes.
pardon?
I don't know. I don't know.
Hold on. We're going to look at it. This is the definition. This is the word, and this is what defines the word, which gives you what its function, what it does. A person having origins in any of the black racial groups of Africa. And you said there's no black racial groups of Africa, correct?
Yes.
So does that mean black or African American, do they exist as a people?
No.
Great. So when we move over now to white, white is defined as a person having origins in any of the original peoples of Europe, the Middle East, or North Africa. All white then. So Egypt is in North Africa. Now, are the Egyptians pale skinned or are they the real Egyptians, not the Arabs over there? The real Egyptians, are they pale skinned or are they dark skinned?
Everything.
Pardon?
Everything.
What's everything?
That means all shades.
No. What is the original Egyptian? What did they look like? What was their original skin complexion?
I don't know.
Because it says original peoples of Europe, the Middle East, or North Africa.
Hmm.
Let me see here. Can we go to Menes statue? Okay, Menes or Narmer, who was the founded Egypt's first dynasty. So let's go to images. So Narmer. Okay, so let's try. Oh, okay. This is the Egyptian pharaoh. I'm just going to open this image in a new tab. And we'll zoom in. Okay, so does that look like a pale man or a dark-skinned man?
Statue.
Pardon?
Statue. It's a statue.
Yes. And what color is the statue?
Brown.
Okay, so therefore the Egyptians were dark-skinned, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so they're not pale, they're not yellow, they're not high yellow, correct?
Yes.
All right, so now when we go back to here, most African Americans identify with Egypt. They claim Egypt and they say the original Egyptians were dark skinned, copper color. Egypt meant burnt skin, correct?
Yes.
All white. So now that means white is what they should be saying, not black or African American. And then when we go to American Indian or Alaska Native, it's a person having origins in any of the original peoples of North and South America, including Central America, who maintains cultural identification through tribal affiliation or community attachment. So the original Indians of the Western Hemisphere, which they call the United States, Canada, what color were they?
All shades.
Okay, let me say this again. The original people of North and South America, what color were they?
Brown.
Because when we type in the word America 1828 definition into Google, this is what we get. American from Webster's of 1828. American is the adjective. America, you have also American, the noun, is a native of America originally applied to the Aboriginals or copper colored races found here by the Europeans. So the people who call themselves Indian that say they're red, they just admitted that they're not indigenous to here. They're from the Red Deer Caves in China. They are Mongolian. They are not the original people of this Western Hemisphere. That's why the slave, they say in the Middle Passage about ancestors being on slave ships and being brought to America, complete bullshit. Complete BS. It would cost them more to put them on and keep them healthy for the 3 or 6 months it took to come by boat. See, this is how we put the dots and connect everything. So now in the US Census, when they talk about race, what do we see? White, a person having origins in any of the original peoples of Europe, the Middle East, or North Africa. The 1997 OMB standards permit the reporting of more than one race. An individual's response to the race question is based upon self-identification. An individual's response to the race question is based upon self-identification. For the first time in Census 2000, individuals were presented with the option to self-identify with more than one race, and this continued with the 2010 census. What is race? The data on race were derived from answers to the question on race that was asked of individuals in the United States. The Census Bureau collects racial data in accordance with guidelines provided by the U.S. Office of Management and Budget, and these data are based on self-identification. So do you see a common theme here in the last 3 paragraphs that I've spoken? You there?
The census. Census.
Yes, are you seeing a theme?
The theme is census from
No.
2000s and 2010.
No, the theme is self-identification.
Oh, okay.
An individual's response to the race question is based upon what?
Yourself.
Identification.
Identification, yes.
What is race? The data of race collected by the US OMB are based on what?
Self-identification.
Now, going back to the definitions of race, if a person who's Black or African American and calls themselves Black or African American and self-identifies themselves as Black or African American, they are a person who doesn't have any existence, because I asked you to name a Black racial group of Africa, you said there isn't one. So this means this race and ethnicity is a trick, correct?
Correct, yes.
So when Black people call themselves African American, they are saying to the universe, to creation, to existence, that they do not exist. And fundamental rule most people know of physics and science, something that does not exist cannot be allowed to exist in the universe. And so the universe says they must be deleted or annihilated.
Oh, no.
Yes, this is what's happening. So now we've got the language, we got Old English, we got the definitions, we got Barack Obama telling a secret he shouldn't have told Black people. He let it out, he leaked it, and Black people still didn't catch that. So now we go to my now fact 241. I'm just going to go to the main part here.
What does Turtle Island mean? What does Turtle Island mean?
That's North America. What you call United States, Canada, and Mexico, that's the original name for this landmass.
Oh.
And when I do my videos, this is why you can tell who's real. My video is, they say, where was this video recorded? On Turtle Island. None of these other people doing videos who are say they're conscious, they keep putting United States. United States is a corporation. If they're indigenous, they're supposed to say Turtle Island. They don't even do that. So I'm going to go to the part which is one of my favorite parts here in this video. Oh, perfect. Perfect. Our first Black president of the United States. President Obama replies, Tom, I don't look at myself as the first Black president because the word Black has no standing at law. Now, further legal proof of that.
And the Dred Scott decision, which was handed down by the Supreme Court in 1857, is one of the most famous or infamous decisions in all of the history of the Supreme Court. And it arose out of some complicated issues, but what it basically had to do with was the power of Congress to prohibit slavery in the Western territories. Dred Scott had been brought as a slave into the territory of Wisconsin, where slavery had been barred by Congress, and later he sued for his freedom on the ground that he had been in a place where slavery had been abolished and therefore should be considered free. And this goes all the way up through various courts, and the Supreme Court eventually rules, no, Dred Scott's not free because 2 reasons. One, Congress does not have the right to prohibit slavery in the territories. And this basically declares the Republican Party unconstitutional. The Republican platform, Lincoln's platform, which is to prohibit slavery in the territories, the Supreme Court said you can't do that. Slavery is a right to go anywhere within the country in a territory, not a state. A state can abolish slavery. Illinois did. But the territories which belong to the whole country, slavery is a right to go there. The second principle put down by Chief Justice Taney in the Dred Scott decision was that blacks cannot be citizens of the United States. In a sense, Dred Scott can't even sue because he's not an American. This is one of the best examples of this notion of blacks as aliens. Even though he's born here and everything, he is not an American. The American family, as Taney says, is for white people. And in the most famous sentence in that decision, he says, a black man has no rights which a white man is bound to respect. Now, he's not saying blacks can be killed with impunity. What he's saying is, legally speaking, they are not part of the body politic. They are not part of the we the people that created the Constitution, and therefore they're just outside of the system. So they don't have any rights under the Constitution because the Constitution is for white people.
Okay. Now, he said the Constitution is for which people?
The Constitution is, yes, I'm here. The Constitution for white was the answer.
Constitution is for white people, correct?
Yes, yes.
So now that President Trump is in and he's really pushing the Constitution, and he removed civil rights, he removed affirmative action, he removed DEI, he spoke about birthrights being for children of slaves, not for the whole world. He's just telling black people that you have to be white in order to have what? Constitutional rights. And so now companies can hire who they want to hire based on merit and not color, because you got some people working for the government that are incompetent as hell, but they got hired. Why? Because the government had to what? Meet a quota. Now we're going to be time traveling back to 1928 when they had the Black Wall Street, and black people are going to have to learn to come together. First thing though, they got to ditch being black and African American, because there's a report that came out. You may not be aware of it, so I'm going to show it to you. This was reported back in 2017. Median wealth of black Americans will fall to 0 by 2053. You see that there? See it?
Yes.
So, study predicts huge and growing gulf between white U.S. households and everyone else could be disastrous for the future of America's middle class. A new report calculates that median wealth for black Americans will fall to 0 by 2053 if current trends continue. Latino Americans who are also experiencing a sustained downward wealth slide will hit $0 about 2 decades later, according to the study by Prosperity Now and the Institute for Policy Studies. So black, African American, Latino, Afro-Latino, they are going to be synonymous with poverty. And it ain't going to be no 2053. I'm telling you, within the next 8 years, if not sooner. So in order to get ahead, survive, thrive, you have to be white in your contracts and everything you do. If you're not white, forget it. You're done. You're toast, because the program says to attack people that's black, suppress people that's black, make it as difficult for them, for the people that's black. So this is why it would be to your advantage to watch my videos. And then once you understand, there is no other remedy on the planet for black people. I am the only remedy and solution. Before you get to building communities, building houses, marketing and networking and all that, you can't be black or African American. And that's what happened with Black Wall Street, not because of what they were doing, but because they identified as black or Negro. That's why they were destroyed. That's the first one with them. Then you had Rosewood, that was another where they would use an excuse to go after black people and chase them out of the town or city so they could take their land. That's what Amorites were notorious for doing. Then you have the all these different groups and black groups and organizations went through the same thing. The problem is they are holding on to a word that is not part of their original DNA genetics. It has no connection. Black means pale. So if you cannot identify with the word white, knowing that it is actually a position in a global caste system, which the United States got from the country of India, that's why it's a caste system contract, you're not going to go no place. From the 60s, you're a 90s baby, so you don't know, but from the 60s up until the 90s, 60s, stuff changed in the 70s. All that revolutionary stuff was gone, went out the window. Then it changed. Some consciousness came back around late 80s, mid 80s to the 90s. Stuck around for 10 years. They turned around, they suppressed it again. Here we are in 2025 of the Gregorian calendar. 2025 of the Gregorian calendar. And the conditions from the 60s are still here. And you're getting pushed back another 50 because of the moves that Donald Trump has made. So when you hear these Amorites talking about Constitution, they know that does not apply to you unless you are white or Native American. And if you're not either of those two, you have no use to the Constitution. It is going to be discretionary. Black people ain't seen nothing yet. So if you are stuck playing the game without giving the rule book on how to get ahead and thrive, here I am giving you the rule book and I'm the guide to help you do that. Now, do you have any questions about what I've just stated, what I presented to you?
Oh, okay. So why Native American instead of those other things that you showed, those other categories?
Why
Why
Native?
not?
Mhm.
Why not white and Pacific Islander?
Excellent question. Let me put my screen back so you can see. Oh, white. So now, Pacific Islander, Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander, a person having origins in any of the original peoples of Hawaii, Guam, Samoa, or other Pacific Islands. You know where the Pacific Ocean is, right?
Yeah.
What is that? Yeah.
It's one of the oceans.
No,
It's one of the oceans.
Which ocean? East or west, north or south?
Let's go with what's the luck of the draw here?
The
Let's
luck of the draw.
go
Oh, you scaring me now. You can't navigate.
north. Let's go north.
You sure you want to stick with that question? Let's see. Map of I'm just gonna pull a map of the world up. You said north. Okay, so let me see if I can open this. There we go. And let me see how big this map is. Okay, I could zoom in. Okay, so do you know where the Pacific Ocean is?
It's one of the pieces of blue there. You see,
Yeah,
much blue.
which one?
One of the pieces there. Yes.
Which one?
Let's go. How about to the right?
This one here or this one here?
Yeah, sure.
Well, you tell me. You brought up Pacific Ocean and you don't even know where it is. So now I can't assume anything. I have to ask.
How about in the middle?
Here?
Yeah, in the middle.
Okay, so this is Africa and this is Australia. So this is the Indian Ocean here. This area is called the Indian Ocean. Your Pacific is over here, or over here is your Pacific Ocean. So Samoa, Fiji, any of those islands are all over here.
Hmm.
Everyone knows that life began in Africa, which is over here. And these were connected as one landmass.
So west.
Yes, this would, the Pacific Ocean would be
Right.
west. So now that we've got that cleared up, this is why you wouldn't pick Samoa or Native Hawaiian and other Pacific Islander, because those were islands that broke off from the main landmass. The original landmass was here. They're still Carbonites, they're still New Boon people, but you won't pick there because those places, like you see how far they are away from the United States. The United States just claimed those as territories. But they have no direct connection to the U.S. corporation and its overlay on Turtle Island.
Okay.
So
can
this
see that.
whole continent here, Mexico, all this
Yes.
is called Turtle Island.
Mm.
So that's the original name, or Sulhafat Jazur, or Mu, or Atlan. All of this whole continent was called Turtle Island.
Okay. That's good to know. So
all
are
right.
you saying North America is Turtle Island? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying North America is Turtle Island. I'm saying that it is internationally recognized. It is historically recognized. It is anthropologically recognized. All the indigenous peoples call this whole area Great Turtle Island. This was before so-called Europeans, because they're not really Europeans anyway, because Europe is named after an Ethiopian princess, and Ethiopia is here. So the definition that the governments, like the CDC, the National Institute of Health, and the rest of them are using, those definitions are based on their perception. However, when we go to the map, Europe, they call Europe, it's named after an Ethiopian princess. So Ethiopia is in where? Africa. So the people calling themselves white, they're not white, they're Neanderthals, and they know they're Neanderthals. So the Caucasians are really niggers. The Europeans, they're really niggers.
Well, that was good. That was good.
Well,
I have never heard nobody say that before.
Yes, because people don't do their due diligence. One thing we focus on is, or we concentrate on, is language. You have to know the etymology of words. And then once you know the etymology of words, where are we at here? Q19, good. Once you know the etymology of words, then you know what their origins are. So you can see what people are calling modern English is a mutation of Old English or Anglo-Saxon language. This is where the definitions get mixed up. So people are saying stuff with where the meaning has been changed from its origin. Let's see, if we go to etymology, I'll just go to etymology online real quick here. So for example, okay, so while you're doing that, if I type in the word nice, people think nice is an agreeable word. when we go to the etymology of nice, this is what you're going to get. Nice is from the late 13th century. It is an adjective, so it is describing an attribute. Foolish, ignorant, frivolous, senseless. From Old French, Nice, 12th century. Careless, clumsy, weak, poor, needy, simple, stupid, silly, foolish.
SF-181 race and ethnicity definition brought to you by the Office of Management and Planning.
Greetings.
Hello, I'm Jonathan Miller from ASDE Inc., located at 729 St. Joseph, Suite 201 in Gatineau, Quebec, J8Y4B6.
What is this?
Toll-free 1-8. We are doing a national study in Canada, and I will only ask one question. I have nothing to sell. In your home, do you have a phone line which is not a cell phone? If yes, please press 1.
I already know the answer to that, so I'm not gonna, of all the times to call, but I'm
Yeah.
glad because I'm recording, so we got this. It's a 587 number, which is an Alberta number, but they say they're calling from Quebec. Anyways, from the Latin nice, necius, ignorant, unaware, literally not knowing. So when people say, oh, she's a nice person, they think they're saying something agreeable. No, you're not. You're saying the woman is foolish, ignorant, frivolous, senseless, careless, clumsy, weak, poor, ignorant, unaware. That's the origin from the late 13th century.
Hmm.
It wasn't until 1769 is when it mutated into kind or thoughtful. So look at that, from the late 13th century to 1769 as 400 years.
Wow.
400 years. So now, when we go to, this is a book, you can't get it on the internet anymore. They took it down, Races of Man. See, that's why when we see good stuff, we keep the screenshots. Because if I click on the link, they took her site down, or she took the site down because it doesn't, see, oops, that page can't be found. But I got the screenshots from the website. So this is a book called Races of Man. So as you can see here, I'm just clicking on it so it will go into a big size and I can zoom in. Just give me one, or give it the computer 1 second. There we go. So as you can see here, what does it say here at the bottom? You see that?
Oh, I'm so confused. Oh, wow.
What does it say there?
It says Caucasian, really.
Okay, and what's the image look like?
And it looks like good times.
Okay, good times. I'll take that. So looks like somebody who's dark skinned, so-called African American, correct?
Yes.
And then they have European on the right with pale skin, correct?
Yes.
But we know Europe is named after an Ethiopian princess. So we know that this is not true. So this is wrong. They
Wow.
are Neanderthal, and they even admit it. They're putting TikTok videos bragging about their Neanderthal genes. Where did Neanderthals live? In caves.
Wow. Okay.
So they're not teaching people anything real, true, factual knowledge to help free themselves or help with their with their self esteem. They're telling them, feeding people lies, both races, regardless of the color. So now, why would anyone who's born in North America, as they call it, which is Turtle Island, why would they turn around and claim Samoa Pacific Islands, which is all the way over here? Has nothing to do with this. And most of those people who are over there, they'll say they're Fijian or they're Samoa. They'll claim that. They ain't claiming black. They're not claiming African American. So now that we got that taken care of, now we're gonna go to this next one here. African Americans are descendants of Ramesses. Ramesses the Third. Okay, here, okay, this was one Atlanta businessman discovers he's direct descendant of Egyptian. And where is it here? So this is a businessman. They say he's a direct descendant of which one? Not Ramesses the Third. I think it's and he's direct descendant of, might be Ramesses the Second or oh no, Tutankhamun. Okay, so this is the one here. He's an Atlanta businessman.
A Black American from Atlanta named Dexter just found out that he is a direct descendant of King Ramses III of Egypt.
You have such
an interesting history. Please explain what made you do a DNA test and then
Okay, so that's Ramesses the Third. Then if we go to my now fact number 239. Oh, this is fabulous here.
Y'all was in my box.
Check out this video that he just dropped a couple weeks ago.
Y'all was in my box. Man, get in here, get in here. Get in here. Y'all asked for it. Y'all was in my box and y'all say, Getty, give us some more secrets, Getty. It's 2025. Okay.
A Black American from Atlanta named Dexter just found out that he is a direct descendant of King Ramses III of Egypt. You have such an interesting.
There we go. So let's go back here.
Have you ever heard of Operation Pharaoh? This is hidden from you. Give us some more secrets, Getty. It's 2025. Okay, I got you. But donate $1 and you're gonna want to download this video. Have you ever heard of Operation Pharaoh? This is hidden from you. Now, what was Operation Pharaoh? Well, they aim at identifying living descendants of the ancient Egyptian Pharaoh Ramses III. And as you can see, direct lineage of pharaohs, right? They're looking for the paternal descendants. Take a screenshot.
Paternal.
Now, when they took blood samples from the corpse He was identified as E1B1A. Take a screenshot. Now they scoured the whole world and they couldn't find millions of people, right, in one area. They couldn't find no archaeology evidence in one area, and they couldn't find thousands of mounds and pyramids in one area. But where do you think they found this at? You guessed it, North America. 60% of the so-called African Americans carry the haplogroup E1B1A. They was like, wait, so they all are family members? And then they say, wait, it's 47.9 million of these people, all descendants in one place.
Hold on, don't skip out where he said who self-identified as Black. That's critical.
That's what they said. And then they start finding evidence in these Indian so-called mounds, right? Like the New York Holy Stone was buried, connected to the lost tribes of Israel, mound builders and Israelites. Take a screenshot. And then they said, we have another problem. We have another problem. Add to the proof. They said the mound builders was built by the ancient Egyptians. They built mounds. What? Then you tap on the picture, it brings up this in North America. What? So, can you handle the truth? Can you handle the truth? Well, if you can, donate $1 and download the video.
Much appreciated to Gatti much for that video. Much appreciated to Kiani, the elder, for sending that to me down in South Carolina. Now we have to get to some reality here. That is true as far as the scientific aspect is. However, when you're doing commerce and you're doing contracts, if you self-identify as Black, all of that is nullified. They're not going to tell you that legally speaking. They're not going to tell you that anthropologically speaking. They're not going to tell you that scientifically speaking. However, let us go and I will show you something that will be of great interest. So, Barack Obama back in 2012 on October 16th. So that brings us back to, do you see the pattern? You see where we're going now? Black has no standing at law. Because what will they say? They'll say the Egyptians were white. They're not talking about skin color. They're talking about the Egyptians being white based on self-identification and the definition of what white is: a person having origins in any of the original peoples of Europe, the Middle East, or North Africa. Now, do you see what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So you're not going to get no remedy, no solution, no we shall overcome, none of that being Black or African American. That's why the churches can't help you. The pastors can't help you. The Babalaos and the Orishas can't, not the Orishas, but the Babalaos and the priestesses cannot help you. Nobody, none of the other races will help you because they'll use the word Black, which is a slave title. Black and African American. And it will be synonymous with what? Poverty. So this is what I'm talking about. We're actually in the UN International Decade for People of African Descent, which no one else is talking about aside from myself. They just did the proclamation, and I have the link here. And then we have, so while that's there, we're going to go to Web TV, where the UN has, okay, great. They went and used my face as the thumbnail for the third day. The third
Oh, congratulations.
The Social Forum 2023.
Wow, that's cool.
So that means they know who I mean, I only spoke for about a minute and a half. So that's why I was kind of shocked when I was told that they use your picture. I'm like, how? I'm like, what? I said, I only spoke for a minute and a half. There's other people who got to speak 10, 15, 20 minutes. I only got to speak for a minute and a half. I said, they chose me. I said, oh, they know something. So you have that, and you have this resolution. Proclamation of the Second International Decade for People of African Descent. So everything that's going on with Trump, with the tariffs against Canada, Mexico, Panama, that's all a distraction. They're trying to put things in order. So when Black people think that they're going to try to either get reparations or some kind of remedy, they'll say, but you guys never existed.
Huh?
African Americans, not a race, never existed. So the only one who knows that, because I get access to the United Nations and do inputs and questionnaires that they publish. I'll put this link here in the chat for those that's interested. So there you have it. So what I'm teaching you, the UN knows because I submit inputs to them in questionnaires. And so now they went and did this. They did it real slick like as well. They did this on when did they do this here? On the 17th of December. And then they made it public on the 19th of December 2024. So Black is an adjective. Nouns are persons, places, or things. Keep in mind, everybody here on these definitions of race, all of them except were all called original peoples, white original peoples. Next one, Native Hawaiian original peoples. Asian original peoples. American Indian original peoples. But for Black racial groups. So this is what I mean. So globally, you cannot call yourself Black or African American anymore. You can use person of African descent because that's international. People from Africa don't call themselves Black or African American. They say they're Nigerian. They say they're from a tribe, a clan, or a village. This is why you have to study what I'm doing, and this is why you have to get on my webinar. Umar Johnson cannot help you. He's already got his Ghanaian citizenship, so he's already planning his escape route. Sarwasutan City, Saw Nitir, the historical Black colleges and universities, all of them. They have no remedy. All they're doing is providing you a way to live and function on somebody else's plantation. That's it. In terms of having real remedy that will have a real effect, I'm the only one that's providing that, and that's a fact.